Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Haraami United. It's myself, Afzal, as your host again, and I've got with me today two special guests. We've got Akil, Banksy as usual, and we've got a very special guest making a debut, medicals, agents, all of that done. We've got Hannah. We will be going through the Wolves game, as you all know, happened, at time of recording happened last night. Deep dive into that. Maybe talk about a certain Harry Maguire. Unfortunately, Tej isn't with us, but, it is what it is. We carry on. And, we'll see where it goes from there. But first of all, Hannah, you're the guest. So take it away. I mean, first thing we normally do is talk to you about United. So how did you become a Man United fan? Like, what brought you to the club?
Good question. Hi, everyone. First of all, thank you to you both for having me. It's an absolute pleasure. How did I become a Man United fan? That is a good question. So I was brought up in a house where my mum wasn't bothered about football, and my dad, I laugh at him for this, but he is a Spurs fan, which I'm from Manchester, so that's quite unusual. When I asked my dad why he's a Spurs fan, he said, well, it's because when I was at school, basically, he wanted to be different. And of course, I laughed at him for that. But however, his dad, my granddad, was a massive Manchester United fan. And he used to take me to the games. I remember being really young. And I remember at the time, I'll be honest, I think I was a bit overwhelmed and like, oh, I think this is for boys and all of that. But as I've grown up, just what Manchester United stands for and seeing how big of a club it is in other countries, like you go on holiday, everyone goes from Manchester United, no one goes Manchester City. But it's always just been, for me, something that's so exciting to be a part of. And this fan base, I mean, at the moment, I feel like it is quite divided, but there's so many good people in it. And this is what is so great about football. It brings everyone together. But yeah, I'd say being at school as well. Do you remember those like match attack cards? I remember the 5-star shinies. They were always Manchester United players.
My nephew's collecting them currently.
Exactly. So I was always like, I support Manchester United. So it's always been something that I've been very proud of, I would say. But good question.
No, that's a good story. I mean, I'm questioning why your dad was a Spurs fan, but
I know that's what's playing in my head as well. From United,
especially if his dad was a fan.
Trust
to United as well.
I've bantered him about it for years, and as I got older, it's only got worse. Every weekend, I'm texting him.
Was he a fan of Gaza by any chance? Is that what it was?
Probably.
Or like Hoddle and Waddle. I don't know how old your dad is, but like Hoddle, Waddle, Gaza, that's the only names that come to my head.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know, but I know he was gutted about Harry Kane. I mean, I was like, I'm gutted about Harry Kane. I wanted him at Man United, but there we go.
I made a prediction that he was going to sign for us on deadline day for 100 million. I was a bit wrong.
You know what? Even the Harry Kane, because even I expected him to come to United as well for 100 million. I mean, obviously, deadline day, similar to what Berto did. But for him to go to Bayern Munich, like Gary Neville said, he's stunned. I'm stunned as well. Even now, I'm just thinking how.
I can't believe he's left the Premier League. He was so close to that goal scoring record. I mean, obviously, Alan Shearer must be absolutely buzzing.
Did you not see his Twitter? He was like, he was trying to the picture of the plane, and then he was like, "Oh, good luck, congratulations on your big move." And I'm like, "Yeah, your record's safe, mate. Don't worry."
Yeah, he's got away with it quite a few times the last few years. But I'm surprised he left. I thought he probably won't stay at Spurs because obviously if they'd let him go on a free, that would have been a huge miss. But I did think he'd definitely go to a different Premier League club. Obviously, hopefully Manchester United, but that obviously was my dream.
Do you not think he might end up staying for 2 years and then coming back into the Premier League?
Hopefully. How old is he then? Like 32?
I mean, with Harry Kane, I think he's 30 now.
Yeah.
So I think my feelings is he might not even settle into the team, or maybe the first season he'll basically win everything, and then he might just think, you know what, I've won everything, I want to come back and get that record.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's a shout. That's what my gut feeling is.
But from a business standpoint, what is it? Was it 100? I don't know what the final figure is. Is it 105 million euros?
Yeah, something like that.
So surely Bayern have to recoup that in some way, right?
Yeah, no one paying that much.
Newcastle?
You know what? That's what one of my managers was saying. He might end up going to Newcastle. That's a shout as well because they're in Champions League. They're building that squad to basically challenge for the title. And Kane could be that lead striker, but then you've got Isaac as well, who's really good. Newcastle.
They did look good.
It's Harry Kane, man.
I know. I'm still gutted, man. Can't believe it.
He lost his first game.
Yeah.
And it was a final.
Yeah.
Did you see Twitter and was like, maybe it's him that's the problem? I was like, that's a bit harsh. Like, I can't.
Yeah.
We were watching it. We were watching it while we recorded the last one. And I just kept jumping in like, oh, Kane's doing this, Kane's doing that, Kane's doing this.
Well, Hannah, one thing I want to mention on is, you mentioned the fans divided. What's your opinion on that? Because I want to know more about what you think on it.
I mean, there's fan divides, I think, for a lot of different reasons. Big one, ownership. So many people want Qatar. So many people say it's going to end up being sports washing. So I think there's a huge divide on that. There's a huge divide on, certain players. Some people are saying give them a chance. Other people are saying they're already written off. There's a divide on the Mason Greenwood return. That's huge. That's a massive one. I think that's probably the biggest thing. The
biggest one, yeah, it is. I think that's a topic. I think that's a topic where you can't touch on because it's too fragile, but you do it anyway. That's the thing.
I won't even say like what I believe, my opinion about it, but I think the way that Manchester United are handling it is awful. Like we heard again this week, they're delaying it till September. Like what you know as a club, what you're going to do. And I think it's quite obvious what they're going to do. I think they're going to bring him back. But just do it. Like stop trying to find the perfect time because it will never be the perfect time because there's going to be people that will kick off.
Did you see that thing I don't know who came out with it, something about it was to do with the women's team. And then loads of the women's footballers got loads of abuse. And I thought, what kind of idiots are you lot, like, that you fall for this?
It's because they released a statement, didn't they, saying we are consulting our shareholders, including the women's team. Like, you didn't have to say that. You've obviously been consulting the women's team for the last year. We know what their opinion, a lot of their opinions are about it. So to put it on the women again, I just think it's very, very poor from them. Very poor.
Up until about 6 weeks ago, we didn't even have women's training facilities. So it's typical Glazers, really. But they are kicking it further and further down the road. I'm personally of the belief it will be Qatar. I don't know about you, but I think it's just one of them things where, from a Glazer standpoint, okay, you deal with it now.
Yeah, 100%. And they've had enough time to deal with it. The recordings came out nearly 18 months ago. Like, he's not. The thing is that I don't understand is if they do want him back, kind of in a footballing ability, why? Like, I know those videos of him training a few weeks ago, nothing to go off, but he's not played a professional game for 18 months. Like, it's a long time to be out, and he's obviously had all this stuff to deal with in his personal life, whether it's true or not. He's obviously come under heavy criticism. So there's going to be that element.
He's just had a kid as well, so.
And last night at the Wolves game, you hear them chanting Mason Greenwood chants. Like, him on the pitch, he will get eaten alive. There's going to be people that go good, rightly so, and there's going to be people that go, no, he's the star boy, he deserves it. But I just think there'll be too much backlash, and I don't think it will do the dressing room any good at all, because then people will start to go, well, the players are advocating it, they support it, so why shouldn't we? And it's just very political, isn't it?
I think you have to look
politics
at
doesn't belong in football.
No, yeah, I think you have to look at it from a mentality point of view as well, because I think the mentality squad that we've got right now in the dressing room is strong. We've got like leadership like Casemiro, Martinez, Bruno, Everton Hag as well, who's literally the manager, and he's done quite a lot of important things as manager as well, as in got rid of Ronaldo, stripped Maguire to captaincy, the David De Gea situation as well. But
he's still not found a club.
I can't believe that.
No.
There was obviously the links to Madrid. Apparently, Ancelotti vetoed it and said he wanted Kepa instead.
I don't get that.
You know what? I'm actually surprised he's still not going to the Middle East, Saudi. To have it here.
I don't get why he's not an offer. Like although obviously he's been heavily critiqued as well, he's still a Golden Glove winner from the season just gone. I don't see how, because Saudi are taking, they're taking some great players, but they are also taking anyone really. So
did you see what they did today? Apparently there's a bid gone in for Alison. That will kill Liverpool if that happens.
Obviously, as Man United fans, we want him to go. There you go. That's Alison's replacement.
Yeah.
7-0 to them.
And then we'll be hashtag FSG out again. We had a whole day of FSG and FSG.
It's pathetic. And then they say to us, "You cry Glazers out." What? You've cried FSG out, and then that night they put that bid in for Caicedo.
And then it was FSG
and then they were FSG in, then FSG out, FSG in. It's just like, make your mind up.
I just find it funny that Lavia's done the same thing.
They're getting bannered. This transfer window is one to forget for Liverpool. Like, it is quite embarrassing. Chelsea, though, like, obviously, I think they're going to have the same issue that they had last season. It's getting to a point now where it's like, really, another one? Can only have 11 men on the pitch.
Do you not think Chelsea actually blend in as a team? Like, because they've got a good manager there, but they've got individual good quality players. Do you not think it? Because I see the midfield, like, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because you got a new manager, you got a lot of players, but the blending, it might take them at least a season to blend in together and be that team. But I think they have got a shout of being in the top four for me, because they've got a good quality individual players.
They look good on Sunday in that Liverpool game. They were definitely the better team. And I
thought they started really poor.
They did.
And then all of a sudden they just took over, and I'm like, this could have been 4-0.
Literally.
Like,
always a draw though, isn't it? Always.
Nico Jackson looks good.
He does.
Disasi obviously scored the goal, but then he messed up for their goal as well. But yeah, man, we're talking about Chelsea. We're talking about centre-backs. We've got one of our own. Harry Maguire.
Oh, sticky man.
Is he leaving? Is he staying? Is he getting compensation? Like, what's going on?
I think.
Hannah, go on, Hannah.
I think they said it came out this morning, didn't it? That apparently the West Ham deal is off, and if Harry does go, he wants quite a few millions from us. I just think he's wrong for that personally. I think, like, he's been on this insane wage for the time that he's been here, and he's not really done a great deal, particularly in the last year. He's had the captain I'm the captain of Manchester United, and he's done nothing. He didn't really contribute to us at all last season. I can't understand why he doesn't literally rip off David Moyes' arm and go, I want to be on your squad, because he could be captain. He'll get guaranteed minutes. What he's doing right now, I actually did feel really sorry for him. He's gone through some horrendous things from our fan base, 100%. Some of the things that he's gone through is like not warranted at all. But now he's not really helping himself, because he's now saying he's staying and he wants money off us to go. And it's like, he's kind of taking the mick, I personally think now. And he's ruining his chances of his England caps. Because if he has another season on the bench, as much as everyone knows Gareth Southgate loves him, he won't be playing for England.
He won't go to the Euros. No. If he has another season on the bench, he won't be in the Euros. And like, for me, I mean, Akil, you can back me up on this. Ted just said many times on this show, Harry Maguire is a top pro. He's a great professional. Really? Because now he's demanding a payoff to leave. And if you're a great pro, you want to go and play football, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for me that's not
Man United, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, you know what it is with Harry Maguire, he is a really good defender, but just not for United. He's not for United at all, and he just needs to go. I think Moyes did end up offering him a contract, not a contract, the captaincy for West Ham. But it's just like you're asking for 6 million or something for United? That's just I
saw a rumor of 15.
15.
I don't know if I find the tweet, I'll send it you. But I saw a rumor of 15 million.
That's quite jumping us from 6
which
to
is
15.
half
That's
the
ridiculous.
fee you're gonna get.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
It's like it just makes him look like an idiot, and it makes him look
Yeah.
so because it's not like, he's been on 50 grand a week. He's not. He's on an insane wage. And you know what? If he was starting every week, it would somewhat be warranted. If he was playing really well for us, it'd be like, yeah, give him that. He deserves that. But he has not. Like, to be blunt, he hasn't. And like I said, I think he has been overly criticised. But in this circumstance now, it's like you're flogging a dead horse. Just go and get your minutes somewhere else.
Yeah, it's like even yesterday when he got, you had basically Leach Martinez come off at halftime. It was Victor Lindelof who got chosen over Maguire, and literally the cameras were literally on Harry Maguire, and it's just like you used to be United captain for a few seasons, at least get to that point, realize that you're no longer needed, and if you do want to progress your career for the England as well, just leave the club. I mean, it's just like just leave the club. That's the thing. I mean, money wise, I don't know what's going on in his mind, but for me, he just needs to leave, and I think he's the last of the last when it comes to toxic in the dressing room. I think he will end up leaving. I think he will end up leaving though, but might even drag it at the end of the transfer window.
I think he goes. Look, my thing with transfers is, if I don't see it from Romano, I don't believe it. Because Romano's the guy for this, whether it's Maguire, whether it's the flipping Bebe, whoever you want. But I just think look, in all these statements and all these little apologies that he's had to give whenever we get beat or whenever we have a crap performance, he comes across very arrogant. He has this, I'm England's #1 centre-back. I'm the captain of Man United. I hold myself high in this standard. And it's like, okay, but you will openly come out and say the team didn't play well. But what about you? Where's your accountability in this? And I just think he's ruined any shred of, I don't know what to call it, any form of relationship he's ever going to have with the fan base.
It's respect, isn't it, really? Like
the respect is gone. Obviously, I'm not condoning what's happened to his family, his sister, his missus, his kids, whatever, but I just think, look, you're a great footballer. You really are. Go to West Ham. Go to Burnley. Go to Everton. Be a centre-back that plays in a low block, that starts counter-attacks, that doesn't have to carry the ball, doesn't have to play a high line, and you will be a legend at that club. That's just my feeling on him. I just think he could go to Luton Town. He'll keep Luton Town in the Premier League. That's how I feel.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
That's an interesting take. I like that.
Get
on to Luton because they didn't look too good on, what day was it? Saturday. They didn't look great.
Yeah.
Sad. Well, I mean, they played Brighton. Come on. Brighton are one of the best teams in the league right now.
True.
I don't think anyone can deny that. And I mean, credit goes to them, man. But look, it's a Man United podcast. We're all United fans. What the hell happened last night?
Where to start?
Do we start with the 11? I mean, I saw your TikTok, Hannah. You got it bang on. I think we got 10 out of 11. I think we got.
Personally, for me, like that was my prediction, but it wouldn't be what I would. I mean, I'm not a manager, but it wouldn't be what I would have done. That's just what I thought Erik Ten Hag would pick, and he did. Yeah. I personally thought last night Sancho should have been a false 9, Rashford on the left, because down the middle he just doesn't do it down the middle. I don't know what it is. There was no.
He was nowhere to be seen. Rashford was nowhere to be seen. That's the thing. For me, I think obviously Sancho should have started the false 9, like you just said. Rashford out left. I think Dalot would have been better as a right back instead of AVB. But I think every single person on that pitch when they started, they had an alright game and stuff, but not to United standards. Mount, he's not impressing me at the preseason. The first game, I think, and I said it before when I tweeted it, I think Erik ten Hag's literally bought the wrong midfielder. I know everyone's talking about Amrabat, but where's the ball carrier that we actually wanted?
You know what that game was screaming out for last night?
Frankie de Jong.
No.
Frank, it was literally.
I was watching that game and I was like, Frankie, transform this.
And you know what? There was one player for Wolverhampton that I wished was on the other team as well. You had Matheus Nunes. I literally, for 10 minutes, just watched him play. The guy is an insane baller. Matheus Nunes. I said it last summer as well. He needs to go to a big club. Didn't
he reject Liverpool to stay at Wolves?
Yeah.
He hasn't rejected Liverpool.
That's true as well.
Yeah, that's very true.
But I think Mason Mount, I think he's the wrong player that Erik ten Hag signed.
It's a bit worrying, isn't it? Like I'm quite optimistic. I'm like, come on, give him time, but it did not look good. It's not look good in preseason. It's not look good last night.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Hannah. What it is, I think he will get games. He will come out be that good player that he is. That he's shown at Chelsea where he won the Champions League and everything. But I think he literally bought the wrong player for the formation. I think playing 2/8s is going to work. I think there was a graphic that came out on Twitter a few hours ago where those three customers being isolated. Yes, Amrabat would be a steal in that position. You've got Onana from Everton, but I think we're missing that ball carrier that United need. And I think if we don't get that in, we're going to struggle this summer as well.
Can I just say, I do not want Onana from Everton.
No.
1, for the memes. 2, for the chance.
Yeah.
3, I agree with Rio Ferdinand. Getting him is like getting another Fellaini.
I'd
rather have Fellaini. Fellaini had a bit of... Look, I liked Fellaini, okay? He had a bit of steel to him. He had a bit of aggression. I don't rate Onana. I would rather us have got... Actually, no. Just go and get the guy that Brighton are buying to replace Caicedo. Go and get that kid.
Brighton wants, basically.
Yeah, literally just follow them around.
Yeah.
Right, you're offering 5, we'll offer 10. And just, just do that.
The problem is as well with Brighton, obviously they do great business in that sense, but we don't do business like that. And I think that is, as well in this transfer window is where we've suffered, because we could have got so much more for our players and we just are known to be so bad at selling and like getting a decent price of people. Like you see James Trafford going to City for 19 million and I think we got 9 million for
Was he the goalkeeper?
Yeah, he was good, but we just got 9 million for Kovar, and it's like Kovar's a decent goalkeeper. Like we could have got more.
I think Trafford won the European Championship as well.
He didn't concede one goal.
Yeah.
Was that? Oh, so I've seen that TikTok where Cole Palmer turns to a fan because he's going to save this watch.
Yeah.
And then he saved it. Is that him, James Trafford?
I think it is. Yeah, I think it is.
It's a fan taking it from the stadium and Palmer turns on. I think it's the final penalty. And he goes, oh, he's going to save this. He's going to save this watch. And he saves it.
Sorry, my point was that as well, I think for the price tag, definitely go for Amrabat. I think to be spending 50+ million on Onana would be silly. Like that would be silly business. And we are known to get fleeced. If we can get the price that we are looking at for Amrabat, then great. But I think Onana would be the wrong decision, and the price tag I don't think is good.
Yeah, talking about fleeces and prices and stuff, we've got a striker there, Højlund, 72 million. I mean, obviously he got injured before Atlanta in the preseason. I don't understand how he's passed the medical for starters, but he's out for a few weeks. I think him coming into the team would be obviously a really good bonus, because I think when we watched the game yesterday as well, there was a few times when the ball went into the box, we were craving that striker. We were literally craving that striker. And it's like Rashford again, Hannah, when he said he was nowhere to be seen. If that was a Harry Kane, he would have been 2-3 goals up.
And this is the problem. This is what I think. There's a lot of, I mean, as there kind of should be to an extent, but there's a lot of pressure on Højlund, especially I think after last night, because one thing that I said going into this season as a Manchester United fan, which I'm sure you both agree, our goal difference has to improve. Like, it was embarrassing this season, and it's going to get to the point where points are going to be that tight. It's going to be goal difference that makes the difference for a position.
100%.
For. So although there's like a need for a striker, I do worry about the amount of pressure on Højlund. Like, people are already going, you know, he spent 70 million on someone that's got 10 career goals, and it's quite hard to, well, obviously we hope with players like Bruno Fernandes, you know, fantastic playmakers, he can actually, you know, get those goals. But until we see it, it's going to be like, we hope it works out.
Yeah. I agree with you. Even Anthony wasn't even. I mean, you know what? Apart from Sancho, who came on, I think Sancho was literally one of our best players, and you got Anana as well. Everyone else was just literally shit.
For me, it was Sancho changed the game when he came false 9.
Yeah.
Obviously, push Rashford out wide. But the big one for me was Christian Eriksen, purely because he gave us, and I'm going to use this phrase, an illusion of control. Because we had zero control for majority of that game. Eriksen came on, and we just looked more confident. I know people are going to get on Casemiro and he's this, he's that. Listen, he's a 5-time Champions League winner. He is. Do you know what I mean? You don't do that overnight just by being anybody. You know, Real Madrid have incredibly high standards. Obviously, look who they've replaced him with. You know, the likes of Bellingham and Tchouaméni and Camavinga and stuff. But I think that whole midfield was just... I don't think 2-8 is the way to go. I think you need someone, in Jose Mourinho's words, a 7. And I don't know if you remember this, Aki. I don't know if you remember this, Hannah, when he signed Fabregas for Chelsea. And everyone questioned why he was the number 7 or something. Or I think Jose referred to him as number 7. And when the press said why, he said because he does the jobs of a 6 and an 8.
Yeah.
He'll drop deep, but he'll also venture forward. We've got 2-8. Bruno, love the guy to bits, cannot drop deep for the life of him. And I've never seen Mount play anywhere other than across a front 3 or as an 8. So something's got to give in that lineup. Is Mount the right guy? I can see you shaking your head, Hannah. Go for it.
Shaking your head. Go on, go for it.
Go for it. There's no filters here. No filters. Be as brutal as you want.
I would love him to succeed for a few reasons. Number one, he's a great footballer. Like, he actually is a great footballer.
Yeah, 100%.
The amount of like abuse from Chelsea fans like is horrendous. Like, obviously no one wants to see him succeed purely because he's probably in a Manchester United shirt and hated, adored, never ignored. But I don't think it looks great. Like you say, I don't know if it's going to work for Ten Hag's system, but then I do think he's wanted him for a reason. So I'm going to try and trust the process, but it's quite difficult too, so far, I would say.
Hannah, this is what I mean though, because you just mentioned the system of Erik Ten Hag as well, and he's followed him for quite a while as well. But it's like, what has he seen that Mount can bring to the team? And I look at the preseason, I look at the first game, and Mount's not doing nothing for me, to be honest with you. In that number 8 role, if he's playing that number 8 role, or even number 10, he's not done enough for me. Okay, you know what? Before everyone comes at me in this video, literally, he will get time. He will come good. I know that for a fact. Yeah. I want him to come good as well, 100%. But I just don't see how he fits into that role, unless when Amrabat comes, he switches up. But for now, it's just like, what do you do? What do you change in the next game? Do you bring in Eriksen? Do you push Bruno back to an 8? Do you bring Mount forward? Do you put Mount on the right or Bruno on the right as well? I just don't understand. Even Casemiro, like, you know what, I think Casemiro had an alright game as well, but you can't isolate Casemiro because he was literally on his own at the back. But for me right now, currently, and I do think my opinion might change But for now, Mount is the wrong midfielder that Erik ten Hag has bought in.
Can you guys just imagine, had we spent the original 80 million that they wanted, we'd all be sat here tearing our hair out.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
You know what I mean? Like,
United tax, it is a thing. It's fully a thing.
Unfortunately.
And because we've done in previous years now, they'll do it. And that's why we'll never be like Brighton, because we're not very good at business. And it's frustrating to see, because there's so many great players that we could go for and haven't gone for. And like you see, we could have got Caicedo for 5 million a few years ago. And I know there's probably...
Do you know the actual reason we didn't get him?
Go on.
So the reason we didn't get him, I have a contact that told me this, so there's two reasons. One, merchandise. He wouldn't have been a big, for example, he wouldn't have been what Valencia was. Do you know what I mean? He was an icon in his country. And there was also the visa issues, but Brighton bought him in and loaned him straight out. Got over the visa issue.
The problem is with the Glazers and the board, they just want to sell shirts. Like, that's what they want to do. And if it's not a big name, and this is the thing, this is why, Mount is a big name. Like, he is. Everyone knows Mason Mount. Like, everyone knows Mason Mount for what he did for Chelsea, because, 2-3 years ago when he was at his peak, he was incredible for Chelsea. And I hope he can be like that again. I really, really do. Like, it would be really upsetting if it doesn't, and it'll be like another Harry Maguire story. Hopefully not to the extent it's gone to now, but we don't want him to come to United and for his career to just end up being rubbish. Like, we want him to succeed, but it's just where, like you say, where he fits in.
Yeah, we want people to thrive, and the thing is, for me, one of the more positive things about sort of Erik's signings is Casemiro, winner, leader, multiple trophies. Martinez won the Dutch league, won the World Cup. Anthony won the Dutch league. He's bringing in winners. Even Mason Mount won the Champions League. I think he won the Europa League with Chelsea as well. Missed out on promotion with Derby and Lampard, but that's Derby. But still, like, the mentality's there. And I think for a few years that has been questioned at United, particularly in the Ollie reign, definitely in the Ranić reign. And I just think we've finally got a side that we can, how do I put this, connect with, like, as fans. Like, you see them stopping and, like, signing things for kids, and it's nice. Sign shirts for kids. It's amazing. If you're a grown man and you're gonna get it signed and flog it on the internet, screw you. Do you know what I mean? That makes that kid's life. He'll be telling all his mates at school and all his cousins at his birthday parties and stuff. And I don't want to be in a situation where we sort of fall out of love with that team again.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Because last season was so good for, we got a trophy. Do you remember on Derby Day when Casemiro and all the other players were like hugging the fans, and those videos went viral, like they were just huddling, like it was just so nice to see, because we've not had that for so long. Like, there's been so much tension between the team and the fans, like you say. And last year, I really felt like, we've got this incredible new manager. He's brought in some great new signings, and the team finally looked like a team. So like you say, it will be upsetting if it goes that way. Hopefully it won't. I do think Erik ten Hag has the ability to kind of, we do all love him. Like, he had some serious mistakes last season. Like, some of our results this season, under other managers, we would never, ever, ever have forgiven. But because he's done so many other positive things and we have started seeing those changes, I think it would be hard to get back to that state with, like, between players and fans. But it could definitely go that way if, the performances just decline. But hopefully it was just a one-off bad performance and they just need a bit of time to gel.
The one game that actually got me going properly was, the game against Chelsea away when Casemiro hit that header.
Yeah, that was good.
That goal, the emotion behind the celebration and everything, that literally, the passion behind it, the whole thing as well, like, it literally put me on edge, and I was like, you know what, this is who United are, this is what United is. The players know, the players, Martinez, that photo with that fan, Casemiro's emotion as well, like, you can literally see it all there. And it was just one of those things where we actually knew what Ten Hag was all about and what he wanted to bring to the whole team, the club, the Carabao Cup winning that, cup final, FA Cup final, finalist with Man City as well. He gave it a shot. He literally gave it a shot as well. But yeah, upwards and onwards for Ten Hag. You know what?
For me, the game last season that sort of drew me in was the Spurs game.
Oh,
Unfortunately, it got overshadowed by a certain someone throwing a hissy fit and walking down a tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the best Fred game I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah,
like that was Fred looking like Kaká and Ronaldinho putting one.
Oh, he was incredible that night.
And,
that night, the chemistry between. I remember being like,
everything just clicked.
Is this them?
And I was like, because it was on Prime, and I was watching it. I was like, it's like, what is it? Like, I don't recognize this. Like, what is going on here? And Erik's brought that back. He's built a good team spirit. He's sort of improved a lot of the clicks in a way. Like, obviously, you had how do I say this without the Portuguese speakers? That's the only way. Like, as in, the Ronaldos, the Brunos, the Dalots, and all Pereira in that, and they had their own little clan. And then you had Harry Maguire's little crew, and then De Gea's little crew, and then you'd have the one social butterfly that
basically segregated, country segregated as well. Basically,
yeah, literally, it was just
the English, the Portuguese, the Brazilians. You had the Italians, wherever they were, or I mean, it's all come together now. Even if you look at behind the scenes, I think you've heard he's basically made his own lounge at Old Trafford.
They don't stay at the Lowry anymore.
Yeah. It's like they basically come to the games 4 or 5 hours earlier, have a meal for team bonding and stuff like that. That's what Sir Alex Ferguson was doing. Everything about that is literally giving me Sir Alex Ferguson vibes. And that's what we need. And we've got that in Erik ten Hag. It's just that, you know what? I think not every fan, but majority of fans back Erik ten Hag. Is literally giving him that push, the support that he needs. That speech at the end at the last home game was literally goosebumps.
It was. We haven't had it for so long. We've not had a manager.
We haven't
had a manager that cares as much as he does. I think there's been a lot of managers that have just been like, yeah, I manage Manchester United, and they've wanted to say that, and they've done a sweet FA. Whereas he's come in, he's been so effective, like you say, it's how the team bond. That's really important. What they do off the pitch is somewhat more important than what they do on the pitch, because if they don't have a good relationship off the pitch, when Ranić was in charge, God, you could see the amount of tension in the dressing room. Like, it showed in interviews, it showed on the pitch, it showed everywhere, and it was like we knew that it was like a bit of a shit show. So now it's nice to have, what you say, this amazing manager who obviously wants the team to succeed. And I think getting a cup in his first season was like a big tick, and top 4. Like, if you'd have said that to us at the start of last season, we'd have been like, we will take that compared to the season before.
Yeah, I agree with you, because I think obviously every fan would probably like, we're not even going to get a cup, but get top 4 as well. It's going to be literally a challenge. But Ten Hag, literally, I think he beat his expectations. He got top 4, which was 3rd as well. And I thought he probably wouldn't even get 3rd. I thought maybe he would. At the start of the season, I was like, you know what, this guy's going to do magic. Maybe he'll get 2nd. But when I saw the huge losses, I was like, maybe, you know what, we might even be in for a shout of 5. I don't know, 4 or 5. Might miss out on top 4. And then the loss against Liverpool was just like, I don't know. It literally was
the worst day of life.
Yeah, basically.
We don't talk about
that. And then going on, it's just like we got the Carabao Cup, we got into the FA Cup final, our hopes are up. Like, we haven't been in this position for a very long time, and that's what it is. Ten Hag has made us feel.
He's brought a feel-good factor back to the club.
Yeah.
One thing I'm going to throw out to both of you right now is, do you think winning that trophy in his first season, yes, it is a Carabao Cup. Yes, if you don't win it, it's a Tin Pot Cup, and it's a whatever competition, but if you win it, it's silverware. It's one of them. Do you think that changed expectations slightly?
Yes. Because so last season was his first season. Obviously, he came in before the summer transfer window and did get the signings that he wanted. But obviously now he's had another year. He's had another 3-4 signings. It's like it's now to the point where it's like if you can do it the year before with the team that you had, and you know you've not had them for a year and you've not been coaching them for a long time, why can't he do it now? Because we didn't win the Carabao Cup in June. We won it in February. Like he still was only 6 months into his tenure. So the fact that he can do that then, I think there's no reason why he can't do that now. Like, I mean, we're back in the Champions League. I'd hope that we do progress to you know, at least the knockout stages. I do think we should be getting to that point because, I mean, obviously it's hard to ignore rival fans when they're saying, you know, why aren't you at this point when you spent this much money? And it's because of how much money I think that Erik Ten Hag has spent in the last 2 seasons. That's when the pressure rises. Obviously, like we say, United tax has to be beared in mind, but obviously people don't. They just see he spent this much money. Why hasn't he won another trophy? So I think there's obviously the expectation from us, the fans, but then other rival fans, I mean, there's always an expectation from rival fans, but I think questions will be asked if we don't have a, you know, the same kind of season, if not better this year than we did last year, if that makes sense. It will be harder because I think the standards in the Premier League across the board, you know, are getting harder and harder and harder every year. You know, you look at teams like Aston Villa, Newcastle, they're coming for us. Like, and they could easily knock us off our pedestal if we have performances consistently like we did last night. Last night, I think we were incredibly lucky. And it's games like that that will ensure us top 4 because we'll look back in 6 months when we're in the last few weeks of the season and we'll need those 3 points. Those 2 points, those 3 points could defer us getting top 4 or being 5th. So we have to win games like last night, but we also have to put in better performances for sure. So I do think there's a pressure, definitely. But with Manchester United, I feel like there's always a pressure.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt you there, but I've just got a notification. Neymar joins Al Hilal. Confirmed, signed, sealed, delivered. 300 for some reason Romano's tweeted in dollars. $300 million package, record salary in 2 years.
Crazy. I think that's a shame.
Yeah, I'm actually glad he's not come to United or never did.
He'd go missing in March anyway. He disappears for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I thought he'd go back to Barca, but people thought Messi would go back.
Xavi didn't want him.
Apparently. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Laporta wanted him. Xavi said no.
Interesting.
I think, you know what, Hannah's hit the spot there as well when it comes to the Carabao Cup and the predictions, because if we look at Champions League, we have to get out the, at least our expectation for Champions League has to be the knockout stages. The Premier League, I think we have to try to obviously get our goal difference on a big margin, not a small margin, like you said before. I 100% agree with that. And I think we can at least hit 2 or 3. I don't see us winning the Premier League, but 2 and 3. Yeah.
Silver or bronze. We should aim for that. Definitely.
We should aim for that. Yeah, but the way I see it is because you mentioned the Carabao Cup and you win it in February, March time. If you look at Jose Mourinho when he first came at Chelsea, what was the first cup that he won? He won the Carabao Cup. Well, he was then with the Carling Cup, and then you've got, I think, Pep Guardiola. One of his first trophies was the Carabao Cup, wasn't it? So that's like, for me, that's like the trophy of all trophies. You win that and you'll be able to achieve more because it gives you that boost as well. And it's the first trophy of the season as well. So winning that trophy actually gives you more confidence. But for me, last season when we won it, I thought we actually dropped off a bit once we won it.
After that, we were quite bad. Do you remember everyone said, out? We did.
It was like, for me, it was like we won it, we were on a honeymoon, we stayed on the honeymoon as well. It's like, come on, at least give us that performances, try pushing for second as well, because I think at one point when we faced playing Arsenal, we could have hit second place as well.
Yeah.
But it was just, and it didn't work out, because that Arsenal game at Emirates, I was there at the stadium as well, and for me, it was just like, I actually went and watched it, but the one player that stood out for me was Odegaard, and I was like, imagine him in the United team right now, it would be insane. But I think obviously that game was a bit different as well. Yeah, I think obviously. No, I know. But this is the thing though, because we need to obviously the way we need to play going forward is have every game. Because yeah, Hannah, I do agree with you again when you said yesterday we were really, really lucky to win the game as well. I thought, you know what, a draw would be is what we're going to get as well.
We deserved that.
Yeah. But with Varane scoring, obviously Wolverhampton probably fell asleep, conceded the goal. Lucky for us.
It was.
But I think if it was any other team like Tottenham Hotspurs or Chelsea, they would have literally got like 4 or 5 past us.
Well, it will be interesting to see what happens on Saturday. That's for sure. Because last season, obviously, as we know, against the top 6, it was shocking. I mean, the only team that we didn't lose against in the top 6 away last season was Spurs. So hopefully we can be a lot better at that, because also the games at the Etihad, unfortunately, Anfield, we know they weren't just small losses either. They were big losses, like, the 6-3 as well. That's a big loss. So hopefully I think that's why we need players like Amrabat for those kinds of games. Someone that's going to absolutely control the midfield, because our midfield, as we saw last night, is where I think we got ran through and the problems were. But yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah, it's yeah, I think we need to sign at least 2 midfielders. Two, probably 3, to be honest with you, because you look at Ericsson from last season as well. He dropped off as well. He dropped a bit off. Casemiro did a tiny bit. But if we get obviously Amrabat, I think he will be a massive change. I think he will be probably one of the most underrated signings that we have coming into United. Onana was, for me, I mean, that penalty shot. Do you think it was a penalty shot at the end, or?
I mean, I've looked at it a few times. I've looked at it again this morning. The ball was already gone by the time Onana hit him. I thought last night it was a penalty. I was like, if that had been the other way around, I'd have been fuming. I do think it's swings and roundabouts, because we had so many. Do you remember that? Was it the Southampton game last season at home? Like, there was so many occasions last season where we should have had a penalty. Like, I think we got the fewest number of penalties in the league last season. There were so many times we were robbed. So it is swings and roundabouts.
Yeah.
But I think last night, I'd say it was more a penalty than not, if I was being diplomatic.
I mean, to me, it was a penalty. I feel like we got very lucky there.
Yeah.
I won't hide that I think Onana completely saved us in every aspect.
Amazing last night.
And, of course, Varane with the goal. But, I mean, you mentioned midfielders. You mentioned obviously looking to the future in sort of Spurs. Who would you play in midfield? What do you do? Like, looking at that, I don't know.
You know what? I've got an idea, Hannah. Because you're our guest as well, we actually want you to predict the lineup for Spurs. And
okay.
Since you got obviously your prediction right as well for Wolverhampton, that'd be a shout. So yeah, give us your prediction. I mean, it could be now. It could be you can have a think.
I've had to think about this before.
Yeah.
Do you not want to wait a couple of days in case any injuries happen in training?
I mean, I can wait. That's fine.
So you can give us one now and then drop another one in the DMs and we'll sort it out.
I think right now, if we had no injuries, I'm going to say Martinez isn't injured. They said last night it might be a bit of something. I'm going to say he's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go Onana. I'm going to go Wan-Bissaka again, definitely. I think Wan-Bissaka did have a good performance last night. I think there were there were parts where it wasn't great all in all, but I think Wan-Bissaka is definitely over Dallo at the moment. Martinez, Varane, Shaw, same back 4. And then midfield, I'd go Bruno, Casemiro, Eriksen for the Spurs game. I wouldn't have Mount start personally, and I would definitely not just at the moment have Garnacho start. I still don't think he's ready to do the full 90 minutes. I don't think he's ready to be a starter. He is so good as a substitute. Tired legs, he hits with that pace. So I think bring him on as a sub, definitely. But on the attack, I would have Sancho as the false 9 on Saturday. I'd have Rashford on the left. And I'd probably have Anthony on the right. I mean, Anthony has got a big season in front of him. He really needs to prove himself. But the only way he can do that is by getting games. And I do think he'll start. But it'll be interesting to see. That's just my prediction. I think, he could even surprise us with the midfield. I think he could mix in McTominay in there, for example, whilst he's still here. I think he was good last night when he came on.
He was, yeah. You know what? I actually forgot that because when I watched the highlights, the way he came in, he actually did quite a lot more than the starting 11 that I did as well. Not to put together, but individually as well. But yeah, the midfield could go one or two ways, but I think Eriksen, Casemiro, and Bruno might be that shout as well. And then obviously you've got Mount coming on. Anthony, Rashford, and Sancho. Sancho's for the false 9. I think that's a shout, but I've got a feeling he might start Martial if he's fully fit. That's my feeling.
I'd love to see more Martial. I think. I think it could be a blessing in disguise that if he's not going to be sold this summer. I think there will be times this season where we need him. If Højlund continues to be injured in certain points, which will happen, we do need him. And one of the things I think about Martial is he is great, but he doesn't get enough minutes, and that is because of his fitness. Like, his fitness is shocking. It is really, really bad. But if he played more, I think we wouldn't have signed a new striker if he was our out-and-out number 9 and he was reliable. But unfortunately, he's just not.
See, I get the vibe that no matter what, we would have got a striker. I feel like Erik wanted someone.
Yeah. I think because didn't sign anyone in that position last summer, he wants to have signings in each position, definitely, that he's bought in, so he can say, I've changed the midfield, I've got a new striker. And like I say, I hope Højlund is going to be amazing. I hope with Bruno, he's going to be great. Bruno deserves a striker. Like, there were so many sitters that were missed last season and, from fantastic passes from Bruno. So I think there's a lot of people on that team that would benefit from that, but we'll have to see.
I'm just thinking of all the damage Bruno and Kane could have done. But it is what it is. Kane went to Germany.
I know. It's like a pipe dream, isn't it? We can pray that, in a few years, just to retire.
In the nicest way possible, I hope his family doesn't like Munich.
Yes, exactly.
They seem like lovely people, but I hope they don't like Munich, and I hope they prefer Manchester.
Exactly.
But look, it's been a good little chat. We've completely destroyed the 11 from last night, I feel. We've not held back, which is good. But there was something that one of our subscribers left on a previous video, and it's a question we have answered before, but Hannah, again, special guest, you're on here for your first time. I'll put it to you. Where do you see Man United in 5 years' time?
Oh, good question. I mean, this is probably what I think / hope, I'm going to say. I would say in 5 years, we should be looking to or have won another Champions League, for sure. I think, we've really been amiss in Europe trophy-wise. And I think within 5 years, we should have won at least one Premier League title, definitely. Whether it's in 3 years' time, I personally think we should be properly contending next season. Have another season with Ten Hag, but again, people will disagree with that. But yeah, I would say Premier League champions, Champions League winners, hopefully at least once within 5 years. I think that's realistic.
Aki, yourself, I know you said it before, but does anything change your mind?
I mean, I'm not. Yeah, I see the Premier League. I think last time out, I did say this season I want him to challenge for the title, but now I'm just gonna say obviously that shout for top 4, try to close the gap, basically that closing the gap. But in 5 years, yeah, Premier League and possibly a finalist in the Champions League, but I don't see a Champions League trophy. I'm sorry, but
Okay, you both make me sound really boring because all I said was we're going to win a European Cup. But look, it's been fun. We've had a blast. Thank you guys for listening. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Socials are down in the description. We'll put Hannah's on as well. Obviously, the TikTok, the Instagram, the Twitter. We'll put them all there. And yeah, like I said last time, keep it locked. Keep it on, you guys.
done.